Hey everyone, and a massive welcome back to the channel. If you're a Class 12 student preparing for your business studies exam, you've landed in the right place today. Alright, let's kick things off by getting right to the heart of the matter. We need to firmly grasp the fundamental question. What exactly this thing we call the business environment? Think of it as everything that surrounds a business. All the conditions and influences that exist externally but have a profound impact on how a business operates, performs, and even survives. The formal definition we need to lock in is: business environment means all the external forces, factors, and institutions that affect the functioning of a business but which the business itself cannot control. This definition is your foundation, the bedrock upon which all other understanding of this chapter will be built. It's crucial because no business, big or small, exists in a vacuum. It's constantly interacting with this external world. Now let's break down those important terms within our definition: external forces, factors, and institutions. External is the key word here, meaning these are elements outside the direct operational control of the business itself. Forces can be broad societal trends like shifts in consumer preferences, economic upswings or downturns, or even global political movements. Factors might include more specific elements such as the actions of competitors, the demands of suppliers, or the availability of raw materials. Institutions refer to established organizations and structures like government bodies, regulatory agencies, courts, and even influential media outlets. All these external components collectively create the landscape in which a business must navigate its path, making decisions and formulating strategies in response to their presence and changes. A critical part of our definition is that these external forces, factors, and institutions are elements which the business itself cannot control. This is an incredibly important distinction to understand. While a business can control its internal environment, things like its management structure, its employees, its production processes, and its company culture, it has very little to no direct control over these external elements. Imagine, for instance, the government suddenly decides to change tax laws, perhaps increasing corporation tax. A business cannot simply tell the government not to do that. Similarly, if a groundbreaking new technology is introduced in the market by a competitor, a company cannot wish it away. It must react. This lack of control means businesses must be vigilant, adaptable, and proactive in monitoring and responding to their environment. So, to sum up this initial exploration, the business environment is the comprehensive and all-encompassing set of external conditions that shape and influence every business enterprise. It's not just one or two isolated things, it's the sum total of numerous, often interconnected influences. These can range from economic policies set by the government to the evolving tastes and preferences of consumers, to technological advancements that can disrupt entire industries, and even to legal frameworks that dictate operational boundaries. Understanding this complex external world is the very first step for any business aiming not just to survive but to thrive and achieve long-term success in a competitive and ever-changing marketplace. It dictates the opportunities available and the threats that must be managed. Now that we have a solid definition locked down, let's dive into the key features or characteristics of the business environment. Understanding these features will give you a much clearer picture of why it behaves the way it does and how businesses need to approach it. The first feature to remember is the totality of external forces. This simply means that the business environment includes everything that is outside the business organization. It's not selective, it's the aggregate of all external conditions, influences, and factors. Think of it as a vast ocean of elements: economic policies, social trends, technological breakthroughs, political shifts, legal regulations, competitor actions, supplier reliability, and customer demands, all existing simultaneously and potentially impacting the business from various angles. The second essential feature is its dynamic nature. The business environment is anything but static. It is constantly changing, evolving, and morphing. It's like a flowing river, never the same from one moment to the next. New rules and regulations can be introduced by governments. Economic conditions can fluctuate between growth and recession. Consumer preferences can shift with new trends, and technological advancements can emerge rapidly, making old methods obsolete. For example, the sudden rise in popularity of plant-based diets, a social change, has dynamically altered the food industry, creating new markets and challenging established players. This constant flux means businesses must be incredibly alert, flexible, and ready to adapt their strategies and operations quickly. Flowing logically from its dynamic nature is the third key feature: uncertainty. Because the business environment is always changing and involves a multitude of complex factors, it becomes very difficult, if not impossible, to predict future happenings with absolute certainty. Managers often have to make decisions based on incomplete information and educated guesses about what might occur. Who could have accurately predicted the exact timing and far-reaching global impact of the COVID-19 pandemic a few years before it happened? Such unforeseen events create significant uncertainty regarding demand, supply chains, and overall business operations. This inherent unpredictability is a major challenge that all businesses must learn to manage, often by building resilience and contingency plans. These first three features, totality of external forces, dynamic nature, and uncertainty, are closely intertwined and paint a picture of a complex and challenging arena for businesses. The sheer number and variety of external influences, totality, are constantly in motion, dynamic, which naturally leads to a future that is hard to foresee, uncertainty. For you as students, understanding this interplay is vital. It explains why businesses invest so much in market research, trend analysis, and strategic planning. They're constantly trying to make sense of this vast, shifting, and often unpredictable external world to make informed decisions, mitigate risks, and hopefully capitalize on emerging opportunities before their competitors do. It's a continuous process of learning and adapting. Continuing our exploration of the key features, let's look at interrelatedness. This important characteristic highlights that the different elements or parts of the business environment are not isolated islands. They are closely interconnected and influence one another. A significant change in one element often triggers a cascade of changes in other related elements. For example, an increased societal focus on environmental sustainability, a social factor, can lead to stricter government regulations on pollution, a legal factor, which in turn might spur innovation in green technologies, a technological factor, and shift consumer preferences towards eco-friendly products. This web of connections means businesses need a holistic view, understanding how various external pressures might combine and interact. Next up is the feature of relativity. The business environment is not a universal concept that applies identically everywhere. It is a relative concept. This means it differs significantly from country to country, and sometimes even from region to region within the same nation. The political conditions, economic policies, social customs, legal frameworks, and technological infrastructure prevalent in, say, India, will be vastly different from those in Germany or Brazil. Consequently, business strategies that are highly successful in one country might be completely ineffective or even counterproductive in another. Multinational corporations, in particular, must pay close attention to this relativity, adapting their products, services, and operations to suit the specific environment of each market they enter. Understanding these collective features, totality, dynamism, uncertainty, interrelatedness, and relativity, is paramount for any business leader or manager. They underscore the complexity and the ever-present challenges posed by the world outside the firm's direct control. Recognizing that the environment is a comprehensive, constantly shifting, unpredictable, interconnected, and context-specific web of forces allows businesses to move beyond a reactive stance. Instead, they can strive to be more proactive, to anticipate changes where possible, to build adaptive capabilities, and to make more informed, strategic choices. This holistic understanding is what separates businesses that merely survive from those that truly flourish and lead their industries over the long term, navigating the external currents with skill. Finally, let's talk about a crucial tip for your exams, something that can really elevate your answers when discussing these features. Always try to give a real-life example with each feature to score well. Simply stating the definition of dynamic nature is good, but illustrating it with an example like the rapid evolution of smartphones and their impact on various industries demonstrates a much deeper level of comprehension. Examiners are looking for application of knowledge, not just rote memorization. Real-life examples make your answers more tangible, more convincing, and show that you can connect theoretical concepts to the actual business world. So, as you study, think about current events, well-known companies, or even local businesses and how these features apply to them. This practice will make your exam responses stand out. Spotting winds of change, opportunities, and early warnings. Understanding the business environment isn't just some dry academic task, folks. It's actually an incredibly crucial activity for any business that wants to thrive and grow. Think of a business's awareness of its environment as its advanced radar system. This system is constantly scanning the horizon, picking up signals from the world outside its own walls. These signals might be faint whispers of new trends or loud alarms warning of challenges ahead. By interpreting these external forces correctly, businesses gain vital insights. This allows them to navigate the commercial world effectively, making informed choices. This proactive approach is essential in today's fast-paced world. Understanding the business environment helps in identifying opportunities. Spotting them early can give a first-mover advantage. Opportunities often arise from changes in the environment. New technology, shifting consumer preferences, or new government rules can create fresh market spaces. For instance, the increase in online shopping during the pandemic was a massive opportunity. Spotting an opportunity early lets a company grab a good slice of the market. That's how you secure a serious competitive edge in the game. The environment also helps businesses identify threats, giving them crucial early warnings. Threats can sneak up in many disguises, like new competitors or economic slowdowns. By spotting these dangers ahead of time, businesses can devise defensive strategies. This turns a potential crisis into something manageable. Spotting opportunities and threats feeds into planning and decision-making. Managers with a clear picture of the external world can create realistic, effective plans. For instance, if there's a growing demand for eco-friendly products, the business can invest in sustainable materials. Or if raw material costs are rising, they can look for different suppliers or adjust prices. This foresight turns decision-making into a smart, strategic process, aligning actions with external realities. Steering the ship: adaptation, efficiency, and peak performance. Businesses need inputs like money, raw materials, machinery, and talent. The availability and cost of these resources are influenced by external factors. Understanding this environment helps businesses get the best deals and use resources efficiently. For example, knowing about government incentives for renewable energy can lead to investing in solar panels, cutting long-term costs. Rapid changes in the world make adaptability crucial for survival and success. Businesses that monitor their environment can react quickly to changes, staying ahead of the competition. Improved performance shows up in profits, market share, brand reputation, customer satisfaction, and employee engagement. All right, team, let's gear up for one of the most crucial frameworks in this entire chapter, the PESTLE analysis. PESTLE helps businesses systematically understand external forces impacting them. It breaks down the business environment into political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors. Each category represents external influences creating opportunities and threats. For exams, look for clues pointing to these 6 areas. PESTLE provides a comprehensive map to navigate the business environment. Even small businesses are affected by these external forces. Understanding these dimensions helps businesses anticipate changes and adapt strategies. First up in our PESTLE exploration is the P, political environment. This dimension includes government actions, political stability, policies, taxation, and trade regulations. Political factors shape the operational landscape for companies. A stable political environment fosters business confidence and encourages investment. Government policies can create opportunities or threats for specific sectors. Political stability is crucial for long-term investments and reliable supply chains. Businesses must stay informed about legislative changes, election outcomes, and geopolitical events. For exams, look for keywords like government regulations, taxation policy, and political stability. Next, we sail into the E economic environment. This dimension includes economic growth rates, inflation, interest rates, exchange rates, disposable income, and unemployment. These factors impact business performance and consumer purchasing power. A thriving economy boosts consumer spending and business investment. High inflation increases costs, squeezing profit margins or raising prices. Interest rates affect borrowing costs, influencing investment and consumer spending. Economic growth leads to higher sales and profits, while recessions reduce demand. For exams, look for terms like interest rates, inflation, GDP, and recession. Now, let's turn our attention to two incredibly dynamic dimensions: the S, social environment, and the T, technological environment. The social environment includes customs, values, lifestyle trends, demographics, and societal expectations. These factors influence consumer preferences, workforce attitudes, and ethical standards. Businesses must be attuned to social currents to stay relevant. The technological environment includes technological advancement, innovation, automation, and infrastructure. Technological changes can disrupt industries and create new opportunities. Businesses adopting new technologies gain competitive advantages and improve efficiency. Staying ahead of technological advancements is crucial for modern businesses. Section 5. Rules of the game, legal frameworks and ecological imperatives. Finally, we arrive at the last two crucial dimensions of our PESTLE analysis: the L, legal environment, and the EE, environmental or ecological factors. The legal environment encompasses all the laws, rules, regulations, and judicial decisions that businesses must adhere to in their operations. This includes a wide array of legislation such as company law, labor laws governing employment conditions, wages and worker safety, consumer protection laws, contract law, competition law, and intellectual property rights. Non-compliance with these legal requirements can lead to severe penalties, including hefty fines, legal action, and significant damage to a company's reputation. Businesses must have a thorough understanding of the legal landscape in every jurisdiction where they operate. For example, the Consumer Protection Act, as mentioned in your brief, sets out the rights of consumers and the responsibilities of businesses to provide safe products, accurate information, and fair treatment. Similarly, environmental laws dictate how companies must manage their waste, control pollution, and conserve natural resources. Changes in legislation, such as a new data privacy law or stricter safety standards for a particular product, can require businesses to make significant adjustments to their processes, policies, and even their product designs. Staying legally compliant is a fundamental aspect of responsible business conduct. The E, environmental or ecological factors, have gained immense importance in recent years. This dimension deals with ecological concerns, climate change, weather patterns, availability of natural resources, pollution control norms, waste disposal regulations, and the growing societal demand for sustainable business practices. Businesses are increasingly being held accountable for their environmental impact. Issues like carbon emissions, water scarcity, deforestation, and plastic pollution are not just ethical concerns, but also present significant business risks and opportunities. For instance, bans on single-use plastics or stringent pollution control norms require businesses to adapt their packaging and production processes, as highlighted in the example. On the other hand, the growing awareness of environmental issues is also driving innovation and creating new markets for green products and services. Companies that proactively adopt sustainable practices, invest in renewable energy, reduce their environmental footprint, and offer eco-friendly solutions can enhance their brand image, attract environmentally conscious consumers, and even achieve cost savings in the long run. The ecological dimension is no longer a peripheral concern, but a core strategic consideration for businesses aiming for long-term viability and social legitimacy. Now that we've journeyed through the theoretical aspects of the business environment, it's time to put that knowledge into action. This is where case studies and previous year questions become your best friends, helping you bridge the gap between understanding concepts and applying them effectively in exam situations. The official brief itself states, let's practice applying what we've learned by solving some case-based questions from past exams. This practice is absolutely essential because it trains your mind to dissect real-world or hypothetical business scenarios, to identify the relevant environmental factors at play, and to articulate your analysis clearly and concisely. Case studies are designed to test your analytical skills and your ability to connect different parts of the chapter, making them a cornerstone of your preparation strategy for achieving high marks. A fantastic pro tip provided in the brief is to underline key words related to PESEL dimensions to identify the right answer while solving case studies. This is incredibly sound advice. As you read through a case, actively scan for trigger words or phrases. For instance, if you see terms like government policy, election results, political stability, or taxation changes, your mind should immediately flag the political dimension. Words such as inflation rate, economic growth, interest rates, or disposable income point directly towards the economic dimension. Similarly, lifestyle trends, consumer preferences, demographics, or cultural values signal the social dimension. Identifying these cues is the first and most critical step in accurately diagnosing the forces impacting the business in the case. Let's revisit the first example question. Demonetization led to an increase in digital payments. The answer correctly identifies this as involving both the technological and economic environments. Why? From a technological perspective, the shift to digital payments fundamentally relies on the availability and adoption of technologies like smartphones, internet connectivity, unified payments interface, UPI, mobile wallets and point-of-sale, POS machines. These are all technological enablers. From an economic perspective, demonetization was a major policy decision that directly impacted the money supply, leading to a temporary cash crunch. This economic shock significantly altered transaction behaviors, pushed individuals and businesses towards cashless methods, and aimed to formalize parts of the informal economy, thereby having clear economic motivations and consequences for the financial system. Consider the second example. Swiggy grew rapidly because of the increasing trend of online food delivery. This is rightly attributed to the social environment. The increasing trend points directly to a shift in societal habits and consumer behavior. Factors contributing to this social shift include busier lifestyles demanding convenience, increasing urbanization where such services thrive, a younger demographic more comfortable with technology and online ordering, and a growing acceptance of outsourcing meal preparation. While technology, the app platform internet penetration, is undoubtedly an enabler for Swiggy's operations. The primary driver of its growth, as stated in the question, is the social trend of people increasingly preferring to order food online, reflecting a change in how society approaches dining and convenience.